Today's top 5 Ryan Leaf, as I dig into the big ass grab bag, I decided to talk about something that I think we all know a little bit about, and that's 80s high school teen movies.
Ooh.
Okay, I think that ushered in a lot of movie watching for pretty much everyone in this room, right? So I decided to go with TJ's top 5, kind of like of my favorite high school flicks from the 80s, but I don't want to give you guys like the obvious ones, right? Because obviously if I made a top 5 of the best 80s high school films, and it would be like The Goonies would be on there, or The Karate Kid, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and The Breakfast Club, and The Lost Boys. I think we could all agree that those should probably be in the top 5, but those are obvious. I don't want to give you the obvious ones. I'm also a fan, guys, of some of these movies that we're going to show here. They didn't make the top 5, but they could have. The Outsiders, My Bodyguard, License to Drive, One Crazy Summer, The Legend of Billie Jean, Lucas, Summer School, 3 O'Clock High, and Say Anything. Love all of these flicks. They also could have made the list, but they didn't. Now, that being said, I like to give you things that are outside of the box. So here is TJ's top 5. Coming in at number 5, this one is Vision Quest. Anyone familiar with Vision Quest? Wow. Matthew Modine, 1984, I believe, stars as Loudon Swain. He's the total opposite of your stereotypical meathead wrestler. Very introspective. He's intellectual. He wants to be a doctor in outer space, right? Now, his bigger dream, he's a 190-pound wrestler. He wants to drop down to 168 pounds to challenge the unbeatable Brian Shute. Brian Shute, imagine if you took Brock Lesnar, right, and shrunk him down to 168 pounds. That would be Brian Shute. He's feared all through the town, Brockman. Here's how he works out. Carries a telephone pole up stadium steps in 90-degree weather. That's his idea of a good time. That's so Loudon Swain has to lose this weight and kind of fight his own fears to wrestle Shute. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I've been a big fan, and it's been noted, of Linda Fiorentino. She's in this movie. She is a woman who's driving from New Jersey to San Francisco. She's an artist, breaks down in their little town. Her car breaks down. She ends up staying with Loudon and his dad in their house. Now, you know all types of hijinks are going to ensue from that. And so basically, that's the movie. It's Loudon Swain trying to train to prepare to beat the unbeatable Shute and also fight his feelings for this older woman. Vision Quest, man. And also Lunatic Fringe. Do you remember that movie, Mike? Lunatic Fringe? Or that song? Great song. Vision Quest. I don't think Brockman's seen it. I'd recommend it. All right, coming in at number 4, we got a John Cusack classic, and that's Better Off Dead. You guys remember Better Off Dead?
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. Very
Lane
good.
Meyer, his 2 main interests are skiing and his girlfriend Beth, but sadly, Beth dumps him for like the arrogant, popular bully skier Roy Stalin. I found that name interesting, Roy Stalin. You know, he's your stereotypical 80s, you know, preppy, bully, bad guy. So John Cusack's Lane Meyer decides he wants to end it all. That didn't quite happen. So basically what happens is he meets a foreign exchange student from France who lives across the street. Unbeknownst to him, she's a great skier and she's a car mechanic. Lane had this Camaro that wasn't working. She helped him fix his Camaro, helped him get over his fear of skiing the K-12. And, you know, it was just like a good, dumb 80s movie. And one of my favorite things was there was 2 brothers, Ryan Leaf, and as Lane Meyer says, there was 2 brothers. One doesn't speak English. One learned how to speak English by listening to the Wide World of Sports. Yes. And he sounds just like Howard Cosell.
Those ones are really good.
Better Off Dead. It's a dumb 80s movie, but I really like it, man. I'd love it. All right, coming in at number 3, it's a little bit more serious. This is Morgan Freeman and Lean on Me. Okay. Now, once successful East Side High in Patterson, New Jersey, it's deteriorated, man. Drugs, crime everywhere. They bring in Crazy Joe Clark, a.k.a. Batman, to help clean up his former school because he went here. And, man, Crazy Joe, man, he puts some radical changes in at East Side High. He expels 300 kids right off the bat. There's pushback from parents.
300?
300. He has pushback from parents. He really does not get along with the teachers. You know, it's all this big thing, and it finally ends up with him actually getting thrown in jail for locking the doors to the school. But then the school has to have 75% of the kids pass the test. Just a bunch of good stuff happened. It's a feel-good flick. If you've never seen Lean on Me, I mean, it was nothing like I grew up, thankfully, but it was one of the few movies that there were kids that looked like me in. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of 80s teen movies. So that's why I appreciated Lean on Me. Now, this one, number 2, this is something that if you stayed up late at night, you probably saw, and that's Just One of the Guys.
Oh yeah,
you remember Just One of the Guys?
Great movie.
Terry Griffith is an aspiring high school journalist. The teachers don't take Terry's articles seriously, and after failing to get a dream job as an intern, Terry decides, I'm going to switch schools and write for this paper. But also, Terry's a girl, and then she switches schools and turns herself into a boy.
Yep.
All right, she poses as a boy just because she feels she'll get taken more seriously.
She dresses in drag,
and then she's trying to help out this outcast nerd who she ends up having feelings for. Meanwhile, fighting the bully. There's always the bully, and it's usually William Zabka, and that's
he wasn't
and that was
right?
him in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Johnny Lawrence just in a different version.
Johnny Lawrence made a living off of playing these characters, but then Terry all of a sudden catches feelings for Rick, and then there's a big reveal at the end of the movie. And I'll just say, if you were of a certain age, this reveal probably ushered you into puberty. And I'm just going to leave it at that. In the end, Terry
may have been the first boobs I saw on TV.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it.
We were thinking it. But
Terry gets her article published. She gets her dream job. She ends up with Rick. All is well. That's Just One of the Guys. And then coming in at number one, it's a thing that Brockman hates, but I had to do it. I have two in at number one.
What is wrong with you? It's not TJ's top 6.
But you understand. I couldn't choose.
You listed like 20 movies that weren't on the list, and then you're like, well, here's 6.
This is TJ's big ass grab bag.
It's a big ass grab bag. And this is
100.
great. These are 2 John Hughes flicks.
Okay.
Weird Science, 16 Candles. Everyone's seen these ones, right? Weird Science, 2 nerds.
Weird Science,
kind of decide they want to make a virtual
16 Candles, get out of here.
Come on, man. They decide they want to make a virtual woman and she comes to life. And then you got 16 Candles. Molly Ringwald's parents forget her birthday, and then, a bunch of stuff ensues. So those are just some of my favorite 80s team flicks. And obviously, I know you guys got a bunch, man. All right, so can't wear the hit.
Anthony Michael Hall. That's just
Anthony Michael Hall.
Right?
Both of those, he's the common denominator in these John Hughes flicks. I actually met him in a club in New York a few years ago. I just said, hey, man, I'm a big fan. He gave me £1, and he looked at me and he said, respect, big dog. And I was just like, oh, okay. Anthony Michael Hall, dope.
Johnny B. Good would probably have been in there for me.
Johnny B. Good was a good one, yeah. He was a high school quarterback.
Robert Downey Jr. played his best friend. He went on recruiting trips. It was outlandish.
Downey Jr. in Weird Science.
A lot of common denominators in these movies. How about you, Brockman? Which one's...
Weird Science, number one for me there.
I thought you said you didn't like Weird Science.
No. I'm not a 16 Candles
gotcha.
I'm a Weird Science guy.
You had License to Drive on your... I was a Corey Feldman and Corey Haim.
Yeah, I was a fan of those guys.
I love those guys. That movie was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Basically, I know, Chris, you said there was a lot, but there's so many of these movies.
Oh, and
the
80s was like the perfect one for
time.
that. I mean, don't forget about Adventures in Babysitting.
Which I didn't really like, but...
Oh, see, I like that one. Our friend Vincent D'Onofrio is Thor in the movie. It's a great movie, but yeah.
Elizabeth Shue,
obviously one of our favorites. And so, yeah, you could do a top, you could probably do a 64 March Madness bracket.
Yeah. Let's think about that for later.
You talked about William Zabka.
Always playing that character. Man.
In my podcast Bust, we delved into my persona while in high school, and we kind of came away, and then ultimately in college, where I would, I think I was just the quintessential Johnny Lawrence character. I think that's who I was, and I was just going to be it, right? I walked into your frat party, and I said, we're here to drink your beer, take your girls and go home. That's what we were there to do. And so I was kind of that, and still to this day, Anna loves me to death, don't get me wrong, but she says I'm 80s through and through. She tells me the glasses, the way I dress, the way she's like, you are so 80s. And I will I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Yeah, definitely a compliment.
It's a good decade. It's a very good decade to be a part of, and I'm glad I was. Yeah. Great grab bag. Thanks, I love movies.
Love it.
Anthony Michael Hall in Batman: The Dark Knight. A lot of people don't remember that.
Right.
He played the reporter. He gets taken by the Joker. Part of that huge reveal at the end of the movie.
He's definitely one of my all-time favorite, especially from that time, actors. Huge fan of his.
Yeah, the Brat Pack, right? Yeah. Original Brat Pack.
And also, Weird Science has so many classics. They go, first of all, Lisa meeting Gary's parents. and her dad trying to size up why this woman is with his son, you know, and then when they go to the club in Chicago and he gets all drunk and, you know, he's
The
trying to
Blues
tell the
Club?
story.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell the story. And he's like, what's this boy talking about on the telephone? Of course we know it's on the telephone. And then, you know, he don't even have his license, Letha, you know, just, I mean, I could watch Weird Science every day.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.